Geometry Dash is a simple game where you click to avoid obstacles such as spikes, walls, and every known danger to mankind. In this game, some of the most prized levels are ones of extreme difficulty, and beating a level this difficult is no easy task. These levels are called demons, and range in ranking. The most popular category of these ranks are, of course, hard demons, and then probably easy demons. But then we get to the extreme demon difficulty. These extreme demons are so popular that a whole list of the top 150 hardest levels in the game are posted on an official website. You are awarded points for completing any one of these levels, so you can beat the 150th hardest level in the game, get 10 points, and then brag to everybody that you have points on the Pointer Crate list. But at some point in time, in the year 2017, a trio of levels, mainly called the RGB Today, were the top 3 hardest levels of the time. We'll be taking a look at the green one, because it's approaching Christmas time, and we just have to celebrate the Grinch. This level is called ErebuS, and it recently fell off the top 150 after 6 years. Personally, I think the list is getting too hard nowadays, but that's a topic for another video that's never coming out. It's still an incredibly hard level, but I like its theme. It's a shame I can't play it, as my hardest level is a level that's 5 spots away on the legacy list. If only there was a level just like this, but easier, visually looked better, and had choke points that are just as brutal, if not harder, than the original. This is ErebuS by Platnuu. You can tell the difference between the two because this one has a capital S. You are greeted by a robot head that seems to be a reference to RoboCop. A bit strange that they add this, as it has zero correlation to the original. Now, to an outsider, this ship corridor might look brutally tight to the human eye, and you'd be correct. But since we're pro gamers only here, this is no problem. This pre-drop is pretty easy up until you get to this mini straight fly part, and I gotta say, it's pretty weird that they chose specifically to make this straight fly harder than the original. After this wave part, which I swear to God, it takes so long to get used to this speed change, we arrive at the real meat and potatoes of the pre-drop. This robot corridor is very difficult and gets very hard, just like me whenever I see your mom. I'm telling you right now, please use this technique seen right here instead of the normal way. It makes the following blue orb a free click. This blue orb is actually harder than the original version of this blue orb if you take the original path. After an easy peasy straight fly, you get to this title card of the level. And as you will hear now, it perfectly syncs to the song, as it is a certified bop. Now we get to the build-up, an intense part that makes you feel nervous, but also ready to go. So we start out with the ship into a ball part and go through some pretty tight clicks, but nothing too hard. What is that? This click. Why did they keep this click in here? It didn't have to be this hard at this point in the level. Look, here's a direct overlay of both ErebuS, and you can clearly see that this click is much tighter. Why is it here? Especially at such a point in the level where it feels like you're finally ready for a real attempt since you just exited the pre-drop. I'm going to have to take action against this by writing a strongly worded comment on Platnuu's ErebuS showcase of the level on his YouTube channel. Thankfully, but also unfortunately, the following cube corridor is not any easier nor harder than the original counterpart. Thus, scientifically, if my calculations are correct, this pink orb click sucks ass. Then you get to this UFO, and this part is pretty chill. You can definitely tell that this part is way easier than the original counterpart. Then you get to what might possibly be the best, but also most confusing part of the level. So we are going to go through this part in hyper-specific detail, so listen up. After going through the cube portal, jump immediately to land on this block, then fall onto the next block and jump off of it to land on this block with a pink orb inside of it. The pink orb is coming inside the blue. Next, you want to fall and hit this blue orb to land on this block, fall into the next block and jump off of it. This green orb is the hardest click of this part, as hitting it too early will result in you completely missing the next block and you'll look like an absolute moron, and hitting it too late will make you hit the invisible block when you try to jump onto your next block, which will also make you look like an absolute moron. After successfully hitting this green orb, you'll want to hold to jump onto the next block as soon as you land. You will then fall into this blue orb, and when you click, just keep holding. Your cube will bounce around, very much like me when I was at a trampoline park and kicked a baby. Make sure you hit this green orb right here, and then continue to hold, which will bring you to the drop and the end of the memory part. You got all that? No? After going through the cube portal, jump immediately to gameplay, dude! Look at this gameplay! It's fire AF! Make sure you hit that like button and demolish that subscribe button. This is just so wild and wacky and... I mean, it's literally gameplay. What else did you expect? Did you need me to tell you the frame data of exactly when and where you need to click? Look at the wave and tell me that you don't know what to do. Look at it! Now there is a straight fly part coming up here that is way harder than the original version. But if you look up at the percent bar, this straight fly is exactly the length of the percent that it is located at. Why does this straight fly have to be at this percent? Rest in peace to all my dashers that died here. After this straight fly, you get to play with your balls again. This ship part is pretty cool, and it leads into a wave part that you must spam and go upwards. And it syncs pretty well to the song. This takes you to a straight fly that, please note, revealing the hitboxes shows that there are invisible lines here to set you up straight for this part. Please be aware of that. Then you get to the famous 78% jump, where it's not so famous here because it's really not that bad. Yes, 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 yes! Oh, and by the way, if you die in this spot right here, I'm not telling you, dumbass. Here's the duel, where each click here is very tight. There's just this one outlier buffer click that ruins everything. Please take note that when attempting this tight ship part, do not play on low detail mode, as you might as well gouge your eyes out, blindfold yourself, turn off the sun, and then attempt the part. It'll make zero difference. Here, we are at the last part of the level, where I have invented and perfected my double tap strategy for this first part. You hit the spacebar and mouse click at the same time for both of these orbs so that you can bypass the need for a fast click per second rate. Wow, that was genuinely helpful tip for players who can't click fast. I mean, don't do the strat, you will die. This ending part is pretty much unchanged from the original, except the very last straight fly was made harder. These are the very last clicks in the level, excluding you. Before the end screen, why is it like this the whole level? It's just easy gameplay with random choke points out of nowhere. The end screen. So that's ErebuS by Platnuu. We are going to take a pop quiz. Alright class, I hope you studied well. What do you do at this part? Option A is pray, option B is pray, option C is pray, and option D is pray. So you're at the 69% ship. What do you do? Option A is die, option B is die, option C is die, or option D is die! You finally reach 95%. What do you do? Option A is pray, option B is die, option C is die due to your nerves, or option D, just fluke it. Like I did. Overall, this level is pretty cool, and a great remake of the original ErebuS. It's pretty fun, and gets you practice for the real version. After you struggle with an extreme demon, eventually, your patience will pay off.